Welcome everyone to my class on why I use Spark Mail over top of Apple Mail. I've been a Spark user for several years. I went with Spark 2 and then I went over to Spark 3. It took me a couple tries. I'll explain all that. But basically, I'm a big fan of Spark 3. It helps me keep organized. So that's what we're going to go over in this class here. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Dan Wassing from Dan's Tutorials. I create videos on how to use Apple software, anything from Apple written software to some third-party apps such as Spark Mail. You can find these all on danstutorials.com. And also I do have some of them on YouTube. I have far more videos out on my site. It is a membership supported site. So if you like what you see here, check out Dan's Tutorials and just know that you're helping support a small business. It's just my wife and I who one of these days I'll have to bring her on as a producer to help me out as I add more tools to my arsenal. But yeah, just check out Dan's Tutorials. But let's get to why you are here. Spark Mail. So for those of you who do not know what Spark Mail is a, let's go over to their website. I'm going to go over to my computer here, and we'll just take a quick look at their website. Let's see here, Spark Mail app. And basically what Spark Mail is, it's a mail replacement for your email. Now, the nice thing about this is, and with any email client for the most part, the nice thing about this is you do not need to exclusively use one email client over another. So you could ease yourself into something like Spark Mail if you wanted to. That's what I do. And in some cases, you might have to go back over to the Mail app, and you can do that, because all of your mail is basically served in the servers, such as Google or iCloud or Yahoo, anything like that. So you can interchange between the two different mail clients. Also, Spark Mail is available on the iPad and iPhone, and they all keep connected to each other because all of your mail is stored on the server, of course. So I use Spark Mail for the most part. I could say exclusively on my Mac, iPad, and iPhone. And generally speaking, the only time that I will go over to my Mail app is if I'm looking for a specific mail. Spark Mail has a pretty good search, but I'm not real good at searching. So if I can't find it in Spark Mail, I'll go over to my Mail app and see if I can find it there. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But I just kind of go back as my home base. I'll go to the Mac Mail app. But for the most part, Spark Mail is what I use. So the question is, why do I use it? And that's what we're going to be taking a look at in this video. There's a lot of things that Spark Mail does, what I believe, better than Apple Mail. And my guess is that Apple Mail will probably implement some of these in the future, hopefully nearer future. My thing was, when I started using Spark 2, my thing was I was hoping that Apple would buy Spark Mail. At that time, Spark Mail 2, they were all Apple. You could not get them on a Windows computer. It was an Apple client, mail client for their Mac, iPad, and iPhone, and that is it. Native Apple Mail client. Loved it. Then they came out with Spark Mail 3, and one of the things that they did with that is they basically open it up to Windows users. And the way that they did that is they built an Electron app. So Spark Mail, when I go over here to Spark Mail here, this is what is called an Electron app. An Electron app is cross-platform. So they can build one app and put it across on different platforms pretty easily. And if you're not familiar with the One Electron app, if you're using 1Password, they did the same thing. It was an exclusive Apple password manager, and then several years ago, they went and changed it over to an Electron app. They lost a lot of users, as Spark did. They lost a lot of Apple users because it was no longer a native app. But give them a couple of years, and you'll now see that 1Password is the little darling again. They just had a little bit of a hiccup there, and I believe that Spark Mail, kind of went through that same thing. You lost a few of the features that the native Mac app had, And it just doesn't work as smoothly. So maybe that's what I should start out with, the things that I don't like about it. It's an Electron app, but the things that I find beneficial to it are far more better. So I can deal with this Electron app over top of the Mac or the Apple Mail app. So what I have here is I have 4 different accounts connected up to both of my mail app and the Spark Mail app. So let's go and just take a look at some of these features that I like. I'm going to highlight some of these features. The first thing we're going to look at is Gatekeeper. So I should clarify, I'm using the paid version of Spark Mail. There is a free version, and then there's a paid version. So everything that you're going to see here, the Gatekeeper, I think, is you have to pay for. If you use the free version of Spark Mail, it doesn't come with a Gatekeeper. So I need to clarify, I am using the paid version of Spark Mail. It's worth it to me, and I think you'll see why here shortly. So when I go over to my Mail app here, I have here, open up my Cursor Pro here, I have here 289 unread messages. And this is typically how we see it. I got my hair cut today, and I said, yeah, I have to give a presentation on how to manage mail and all that. And she goes, oh, you mean my 6,000 unread mails? I'm like, yeah, exactly, just like that. That's typically what my sisters will have. More than that. I think they have like 20,000 emails unread. We just get so many emails, and if you don't, it's hard to stay on top of it, especially when you're dealing with an app like Mail app or a traditional mail app. They're not designed for us getting 100 emails a day. So this is it. And guess what you have to do? You have to go through these one by one. Most of these are newsletters. The vast majority of what we receive is newsletters. So what Spark Mail has is what is called the Smart Mailbox. So when I go over to Spark Mail and I open up the inbox, I still have the same 287 emails. It's the exact same. But if we look here, this is it. Here's all my emails. That's because 270 of those are either notifications or newsletters. And get back to the first thing, the Gatekeeper, you're going to see up at the top here, I have a Gatekeeper. When I receive an email from someone that I don't know, not in my contacts, what Spark Mail does is it says, do you want to receive this or you just want to block this? Well, this is the morning news, comes from Morning Brew. I actually get it through Skim. I could unsubscribe from this. You can actually click on it to open it up and read it. Like, okay, that's a pretty neat little email there, but I really don't want it. There's no reason for me to have that. So what I want to do is I just want to block these. I don't want to receive these anymore. All you have to do is just go up to thumbs down here and block it. And I will no longer receive, or those will no longer be in my inbox. I'll still get them. But what they do is they go into a blocked folder. So you're going to see I have here a blocked folder. So anything that I've blocked will now go in there. So as Morning Brew sends me emails on a daily basis, they'll just go right into this blocked. So the Gatekeeper keeps all those unknown emails away. And if you want to unblock any of them, you can just go into your email here and you can accept them. And then they'll go right back into your inbox. So pretty simple little thing there, but what it does is it's just constantly monitoring it, and you can immediately block. You sign up for that newsletter. I don't want that. I didn't know that they were going to send a newsletter. Go ahead and block it, as opposed to unsubscribing. I mean, you could unsubscribe to it too, but we all know how that works, or doesn't work sometimes. So the Gatekeeper is something that I really like, and it's something that I use on a daily basis. I get an email. I don't want that from that. Oh, yes, that one I do want. And then you accept it. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Pretty simple. The next thing that we have here is categorization of emails. So this is the notifications and newsletters. As you get an email, Spark Mail will analyze that and determine if that is a notification, which could be payment. It's not a newsletter per se. It's just a notification of some type. You're going to see I have here Google accounts. Newsletters are exactly what they are, newsletters. And I have been using Spark, like I said, for probably about 4 years. And I can tell you this works fantastic. It really does work well, but it's very easy. If it misflags something, you can very easily fix it. So let's go into my notifications here. I just go and click on it, and now I'm looking at all of my notifications. None of these are personal emails, or they're not flagged as personal emails. So now what I'm able to do is just kind of go in here and delete these. We do have a little bit of different interface here. There we go. More traditional interface. So basically what I'm able to do is just click on these and don't want them. I could select all. I can, delete them all. But, for the most part, that these are all just my little notifications. Now you'll notice here that this is our Holland Sentinel. This is actually a newsletter. This is not a notification. So I need to tell Spark that this is a newsletter. All you have to do is just go over to the email address here, and when you control click on it, you can just select newsletters. And now you're going to see that they moved, all those emails moved into my newsletters. So now, going forward, these are all basically notifications. And you can see that they pretty much are notifications here. And when I go back, if we go over to newsletters, all those Holland Sentinels are in the newsletters. You're going to see that I have this one for me. I flagged this as a newsletter. Actually, it's a personal email. So all I have to do is just go and say, this is people, and it moves it out of those two boxes, and now you can see that they're right up there. So again, we're looking at all of my people here, 258 emails because I went through and deleted them. But if we go back over to Apple Mail, this is what I have to deal with. So I know that I can just go over here and be like, okay, I'm sitting pretty good here, kind of thing. Very easy to manage your emails when it categorizes them like that. That is probably the thing that really brought me over to Spark, is this categorization. And other email clients do this as well. I think hopefully Apple will do this eventually as well, use some AI or whatever they do to do that. But I think that's one of the nicest features, because here's all the emails I have to deal with in all reality. I don't have to deal with all those other ones. So that is the categorization and how that works. Another nice feature is it has a unified inbox. So what is this? Well, when you look here, you're going to see that I have here 4 different email accounts. Now, when I go to my inbox here, if we go over to mail, I go to my inboxes, I'm looking at all of my inboxes. Well, let's just say the school, I don't really want to, this is when I was working at the school part-time. I don't want to look at this email when I'm at home. They're not paying me to constantly monitor this email. So I don't want this in my inbox. If it shows up in my inbox and I'm looking at it at 5 o'clock tonight, guess what I might do? Answer it. So out of sight, out of mind, right? So what you can do in Spark Mail is you can go over to the accounts here, and I can tell Spark Mail that I do not want this to be in the unified inbox. So now, when I am looking at my inbox here, it is not including my school. All it is doing is including these 3. Those 3 are in my unified inbox. The school one isn't. So now how do I get to the school email? Well, when I'm at the school, all I have to do is just click on it, and I'm looking at the school email. And guess what I see? Junk or newsletters, of course, notifications. So the inbox really helps me compartmentalize as you're working on different projects and things like that, what you're able to do is group the ones that you want to look at on a regular basis in the unified inbox, and then take the other ones out and look at those when you want to, kind of thing. So helps me keep, not put too much time into something where I don't, where I don't need to. So
Don't miss that $1 million donation to you, that email there.
I know it. I'm keeping that. Yep. So that is the unified inbox. Another thing that we can do is we can prioritize these emails. So let's say that, Dan here, he's a priority. Or if it comes from my wife or a friend or Steve or anything like that, they're priority. So all you have to do is just click on this and you can say, mark this as priority. And now those emails will always come up on top of everything else. They're the high priority. So again, as I'm looking at this email here, these emails, you can see it moved a few of them down there, all personal, or from Dan. All these emails here are pretty much junk emails, so I can skip around and do whatever I want. I don't have to worry about it. But basically, if I receive another email, what it's going to do is it's going to come in on top there. And typically, any new emails will be orange if you prioritize them. So just a nice way of getting a nice snapshot of your email. So here we have this Nicholas Bergain. He has $1.5 million, as Steve said, that he wants to donate to me. Well, that is spam. Well, all you have to do to mark this as spam is you can just drag this over to spam, just like any other thing. I can actually go and block this. You're going to see block comes right up. So if he sends me another email, it goes right into my blocked. I don't have to worry about if it detects it as spam. And I believe you can control click on here. Show him primary list. Nope. This. So Dan is priority and showing the primary list. I must not have primary lists turned on. In the settings here, we do have our different lists. Anyway, that's why they're not turning orange. Normally they would turn orange. So back to Nicholas here. What I'm able to do is just go and drag that over to my spam, and now it is spam. Again, I could also block it. I'll talk about that command center. That's another one of my favorite features with it, but the command center makes it really easy to work with emails. Even though I'm not the fastest typer in the world, I do prefer key commands to work with my mail, and that's where the command center can really help you with that kind of thing. So, hide emails when snoozed. Now, Apple started this, but they didn't do, in my mind, a good job. The biggest problem with Apple's version of snoozing is, if I go and snooze this, the problem that I have with it, it's called Remind Me. So I'm going to say Remind Me tomorrow. Guess what it just did? It put it in there. It's snoozed, but it's still in my inbox. To me, when you snooze it, take it out of the inbox. I don't want to see that. Now, what Apple's implementation of this is as I get more emails, this will slowly move down, and then tomorrow it'll move right back up to the top. So they kind of got it. They put it back up to the top at the time that it's not going to snooze. But the way that SparkMail does it is, I'm not going to deal with this until later on. So I need to snooze this. So if I snooze this thing, I can say this evening, and watch what happens. When I go to this evening here, it disappeared. It's not in my inbox. So the idea behind this is, what I'm able to do is snooze that one for this evening. I'm not going to deal with that one until tomorrow. And you know what? I'm not going to deal with this one until next week. So I just go Monday. And you can kind of see all of a sudden, I can really get this down to an inbox 0 because it's not that I'm putting off emails. I'm not going to deal with them right now anyway, and they'll come back into my inbox. So the idea with this is to get to an inbox 0 where you don't have any emails. If I ever want to see what emails I've snoozed, I can do that. Just like with Apple, Apple does have a mailbox here where you can see your snoozed or remind me emails. Somewhere in here, you can tell I don't use Apple Mail that much. Oh, there it is, remind me. So there's that one email. Well, it's supposed to be in there. But with Spark, here's snoozed. And there are those, and I can see exactly what time they're. So they're going to show up 8 o'clock tonight. This is not going to show up until the 29th. This one's not going to show up until the 2nd. So they are no longer in my inbox. What do I have? Group emails, and then I'll open it up for questions before I go any further. With group emails, this one's kind of cool too. Group emails allows you to group. If someone sends you a lot of emails, or I shouldn't even say a lot, but you want to group all of their emails together, you can do that as well. So if we look here, you're going to see I have a number of emails from Dan, my personal account. I want to group those together. Well, all you have to do is just click on the name, control click on it, and you're going to see group. And now what it's going to do is it's going to group all of those together into basically one folder. It should do that. Let's try it again. Group. And there it goes. So you're going to see that all of those emails from me are gone. Well, where are they? Well, all I have to do is just click on, and there they all are. So it's kind of like it puts it into a folder. So, if what I could do, if Steve sends me an email, I can have it go into that folder. And then when I'm ready to go through Steve's emails, I can just click on his name, ding, 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 ding. I can go through them. And Apple kind of has the same thing. That's the VIP here. But I just think that Spark's implementation is nicer. It doesn't have to be a specific person. Well, I don't think Apple's does either. But you're basically able to group them into different folders. So my whole goal here is to get to an inbox 0, and you're starting to see that I can do that very easily, where with Apple, it's pretty tough because you have to go through these one by one by one. Yeah, I don't want that one. 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 With those, I can just go to the newsletter. On top of that, we can even go into the individual accounts. So here's my notifications for Johnny Appleseed. I also have Abigail Appleseed. Here's her notifications. She doesn't have any newsletters. I go over to the school. There's the notifications. So we can go into them individually as well. So, anyone have any questions on this so far? It seemed like going kind of fast, but at least it feels like it to me. So let me know if I'm going too fast or.
No, you're not going too fast. Dan, I have a question that's been bugging me for probably years now with Apple Mail. I get a lot of junk mail. Apple does, once you identify it, stick it in a junk.
Mm-hmm.
If it comes in from the same sender, it'll go into junk. But I get the same subject, junk or spam, but they come in from different senders. I must get 100 a day. So it's the same crap email, but it's coming from different mailers or senders. How do I deal with that Is it possible to deal with something like that in Spark?
No, because that's the spam side of it. So the way that Spark works is, and just like with Apple, they rely on the servers to detect the spam. And you said the keywords there. They're using different email addresses. When you use block, it looks for emails from the same email address. So this doesn't
Oh,
necessarily work good for spam, but it works okay because I'll get that McAfee. We all seen that McAfee spam, and it just keeps coming, right? Even though
yeah, yeah.
so I'll get that in that at the very beginning. You saw where the gatekeeper was, and I'll just say block it. At least it's nice and big in
Okay.
front of me. And if I have 3 or 4 of those, I can just sit there and click on that thumb, and it makes it easy for me to go through the ones and that
So
kind of thing.
it looks at the subject heading
It looks
if it's
at
blocked once instead of
it.
the sender.
No, it looks at the sender.
But they're all different. It's the same like subject,
Right. So
but
the block would not. So McAfee is a good. The subject is the same with McAfee, but it's coming from
right.
different senders. So what this Spark would not detect it, just like Mail doesn't.
Okay.
The only thing
Perfect.
only thing I can tell you is, what you'd have to do is, go into, you'll see that Gatekeeper, at the very beginning. When I first got in here, there was that one email, and all you have to do is just click on, it's going to be bigger than every other email, and it's not perfect, but it's still easy. Apple would just stick it into your mail inbox, and it looks just with all of your other emails. At least here, you can say, that is junk, just block it. And that's what I do. So,
Okay, so basically the junk and the spam are notifications.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, I got two sort of points and questions.
Yeah, go for it.
For the email piece, what in Apple Mail, Apple seems to decide what I should have archived. I get crap in, sometimes it's double. I get a copy of the email in archive and I don't know why I didn't make it important or anything.
Right.
The archive. So to me, that's like junk. I have to do a command A and then delete. So how does Spark Mail determine what it archives?
What, all you have to, so let's say I wanted to archive this one. The way
Yeah.
that Spark Mail does it is you're going to see there's a little check mark here. All I do is just click on it. It's called done because you're done with that email. You're archiving it. But you basically click on that. And what it does is it does put it into the archive folder. So,
So either it's developing to make you think if you didn't put it in, if you close it and say done, then it goes to archive because you're saying you want to keep it.
yes, it will not go in there automatically. There are no rules in Spark. And I know Ward emailed me earlier. I know he has a number of rules. I should say there are no rules in Spark, which I'm okay with because the rules should be up in the server. If you put a rule on a mail client, it doesn't necessarily work for all of your other devices because it's only applying it to that one device. So I'm not a big fan of rules anyway.
Well, let me finish with the second
Yeah.
piece, which
Go for it.
Apple's rules cure what you were talking about. Because when you want Apple to automatically delete something, it'll delete something just by if something is in the text, if it's by a certain place, if it's by they give you a whole bunch of things to
Right.
put in so that it junks more email,
Yep. And they have a ton of rules. Like say, it's not that I'm against rules in general, and iCloud does have some rules, but not near as many as Apple. I mean, we can create rules, exactly like you said. If it contains, let's say your subject contains McAfee, just move it into wherever. Great solution. The problem with this is you have to have a Mac running 24/7. Because if you don't, if your Mac is not running, you go to your iPhone, guess what you're going to see? That McAfee email. Because your Mac didn't catch it, because your mail client isn't open, or your the Mac isn't running, or anything like that. So if you have an iMac that's running 24/7,
Yeah.
absolutely, something like this, you can't beat that. These rules are really,
Yes.
really nice. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like that.
So it doesn't have anything like that. That's why I say it's not perfect by any means, but it works well enough for me. And back on like what you're talking about and what Debbie's talking about, when I get new emails on a regular basis, every day I get an email from somebody or something like that. The first thing that happens is it goes to the Gatekeeper, so that would show up in the top portion here, and then once it goes to that Gatekeeper, you can set, do you want to receive more emails from this person, this entity? Give it a thumbs up. Then you'll start getting emails from them.
I missed Gatekeeper.
Yeah, that was at the very beginning, and I can't re-show it. But what it does is it puts a big, right up in the top here, it puts a big thing in there. Do you want to accept this email? And you have to give it a thumbs up or thumbs down.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I don't get too many emails on a daily basis, but that Gatekeeper is like the first thing that they hit, Spark's Gatekeeper. And this is available on the Mac, iPad, and iPhone. The Gatekeeper is available on all of them. So I get that McAfee email. It's going to be, boom, McAfee. I don't want it. Oh, Tom just sent me something. If he hasn't sent me something before, boom, it comes in there. I accept Tom. From that point on, Tom's emails are going to come into my inbox here.
Right.
So
Perfect.
So I can't say it competes with the rules, and if you have a lot of rules, it might not be your end-all solution. I don't use rules, and for me, this works really, really well. And my whole goal with it, rules are nice, but rules aren't going to say, oh, that's a newsletter. Oh, that's a notification. And to me, that is most important. Again, I want to get to inbox 0. And to get to inbox 0, it's so hard to do an Apple Mail. And here it's be relatively easy. Relatively easy.
52.
Yeah.
It's bad. But is this across all Apple devices then?
Yeah. Yep. So I have it. I'll show you. I'll show you on my iPhone here. Steve, I see your hand up. So here it is on the iPhone, and you can see it's putting them. This is another nice thing you're going to see. So here's the newsletters, and we'll go with the Smart 2.0 inbox. I need to let Fernando in here a minute. What it does is it puts your emails by date. We'll go back over to the Mac because that's not really showing what I want to do. So we can see that these emails are from 2021. These emails are from 2015. These are my test emails when I really started just kind of playing around with that. Apple Mail, I wish they would even do something as simple as that. Break it up by when I received them, so I can easily see. Now I know I can go up to the filter here and I can say, show me all of the emails. Let's see here. Over here. These are unread. And I can change that filter, but it's clunky. And why don't they just put in there, these are break it up by date. These are yesterday's emails. These are from 2 days ago. And these are from last week. These are from last month. Kind of like on the Photos app, I can see my photos from today, this month, last year. I can't do that on the Mail app. You can in Spark Mail.
Yeah, but what's the use of 20?
Visual. What's the use of my 2015?
what is the use of 2021? As long as you have archived, if you want to keep them,
Right. It's just the 2021. It really, in my regular mail, I don't have anything from 2021. These will be archived. This is just my demo emails that I send to myself to demonstrate how all this works. What you would really see is emails from yesterday, emails from 3 days ago, emails from last week. So if you're
Yeah.
looking for something, you could easily, oh, that was last week before you archived them. So,
got it.
and if I go to archive here you can see it. So these are archived in 2022. Again, old data. I don't really sign up. These are new email accounts, and they're just. But here I can see, when did I get that? I think I got that in August. So you're going to be able to find it easy. Although it does have a pretty good search too. So. And the iPad, I'll show you how we set this up. I didn't set it up on the iPad because I want to show you how we set this up. This is another nice thing about Spark, and I think Apple is starting to do this. When you sign up for Spark, the first email address you put in is kind of like the master email address. And when you sign into another account, so my master email address on this account is my Johnny Appleseed. So when I go and enter this in on my other devices, what it will do is it will say, oh, you have all of these other accounts here. Let me put those in there for you. So you don't have to go and enter them in individually.
Ooh.
So I'm going to go into Spark here, and you're going to see I do not have any email addresses. It's just like, okay, let's go. So I'm just going to type in Johnny here.
We can't see your iPad.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you. There we go. Demo. So it's just, the entrance screen to Spark demo at Gmail. This is a Gmail account. It says, all right, wants to use Google. So the way that Spark works is it uses tokens and app-specific passwords. So basically, they use Google Cloud servers for all of the mail. They do not store any mail in their servers. It is all encrypted. It's Riedel, who is the parent company, is touted as a responsible. They're a good company. But basically, what they're doing is they're getting a token from Google, and let's just say something was compromised, even though they use all encryption and all that. What you can easily do is go and revoke that token in Google, and then no one be able to get at that email, even if they got that. So it's using all the proper things. Apple uses an Apple-specific password. So what you're able to do is, did I look
Face
at it?
ID.
All right, so now it's going to say Spark wants to, Google's going to send the token over. It's verifying the account. Welcome back. Nice to see you again. So we're going to see that we don't have a lot of accounts here, but they're going to come in here. And there they are. They're slowly coming. And if I go over, you're going to see I have my accounts here. So I didn't have to enter in all of those other accounts. If you do this, I would recommend, I hate to say this, I would recommend if you have a Gmail address, using Gmail, because the way that they verify it, like you saw how I did it with the browser, that's just how Google works, so much easier than an app-specific password, which is what Apple does. Apple, you have to go and log into your iCloud account, get an app-specific password, and then put it in there, where Google, you just use a Google Authenticator for that. It's much easier. But point being, here's my Spark Mail, and I can prioritize. I have all the same options in there that I do on the Mac. Basically, these are, for the most part, on par with each other. I don't want that. And that is not marked as a priority. I don't want that as a priority. Down here, we have our mark as done and forward and snooze, and I can also set it aside, delete it, move it, that kind of thing. So, which I'll talk about moving and that kind of thing when I talk about the command center. Steve, I see your hand is up.
Hey, thank you. Go ahead and take Edward first, Dan, and then I'll jump in.
Okay.
Okay, so the question is, I assume that when you delete something in Spark, it's going to delete it at the server,
Yep.
at the other end.
Yep.
Will it also show up in the Apple Mail as deleted?
Correct.
Okay, if you move it to another folder in Gmail or something, will it show up on?
Correct.
In other words, it will go across all the things to show up in your other mail programs the same way.
You got it. Yep.
Thank you very much.
And they are better. The Apple has always had a little bit of an issue with the way they Google handles folders. Google doesn't necessarily use folders; they use labels. And with labels, the idea behind it is actually kind of nice. You can put multiple labels on an email. So this could be a work email, and it also could be an appointment email, and it also could be a something else email. And with Gmail, you're able to actually do that. It's like tags. Apple Mail is based on the old hierarchy in a folder. You can only put an email in one folder. So they've kind of always had a little bit of a struggle. You may have noticed, if you're a Gmail user, you may have noticed over the years that Apple Mail it's pretty good. But if you're an exclusive Gmail user, there are people that are like, I got it. This just doesn't work because Apple doesn't handle those labels that well. They've gotten a lot better, but Spark handles labels really well. I mean, basically, they follow the Google kind of thing, so it doesn't affect it too much, unlike the Apple. Yes, Steve. Hello? All right. When you're back, Steve.
Sorry,
It's all right.
I was pressing the space bar, but the Zoom app wasn't up front. So mine has to do with readability and composition. Does Spark handle this, or has more flexibility a little better than Apple Mail, in that I like to set up a system-wide preference that if incoming mail comes in, I want all the text, the content in the mail, to be 16 point or 18 point for readability, because sometimes when you get mail from Microsoft Outlook or whatever, it looks like 9 point. It comes
Right.
out really tiny. So what is Spark any better than Apple Mail on that?
Spark uses, it is dynamic text, but not in the true sense of what Apple touts as dynamic text. I'd say it's like how Safari does it. When you zoom in with Safari, it just kind of zooms makes the text larger, makes everything a little bit larger. And that's basically what this does. So I can't say I want my messages to be larger, but I want these to be still small. It's just a global setting. So we're going to see that here. So when I go up under view here, I can zoom in and out. So I'm going to zoom in. And as you can see, it just makes everything just a little bit bigger. So if I click on there, now it's crunching it up because it's responsive.
Right.
But so I can't necessarily say I want my messages to be bigger, but for the most part, it handles it just like any other Mac app does. On the iPad and iPhone, I believe it is truly dynamic. Well, it works the same way. I can't say my messages are bigger or anything like that. So when I go to my iPad here and we go to the Control Center and we go to text, I can say, and you're going to see in the background there, it's doing the same thing. So maybe it is dynamic text in the way that Apple works it, Where with, like you're saying, with the Mail app, you can actually do a little bit more fine tuning, but I still find it kind of clunky. So.
Okay. Yeah, and I know there's a preference tab in Apple Mail for composing, and in that window, you can say, okay, when I create an email that I'm going to send to you, I want it 18 point text, etc. And then globally, happens every time.
Right.
Whenever I compose a brand new email, it's going to use 18-point Helvetica or whatever, and you have that control over the
When
text size, and,
I
and hopefully you're seeing it at that size when you receive it.
when I go to my Mac here, and let's see if I go and do my text in here,
Mm-hmm.
I can I have my text options here, color, H1, H2. I usually use clear formatting. I don't typically format my text, but
Right.
that's essentially what you have. So I can't, when I go to composing here, it doesn't have a separate setting for composing, for writing drafts, kind of thing.
Okay.
Does that mean
Okay.
what you mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
There's a difference there.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
So it's different. It works, but it's a little different. We just, with Spark, it just kind of goes all big,
Okay.
that kind of thing. So let's go to the next feature here. The other thing that I really like about it is it has this home screen. So what is this home screen? It sounds so simple, but with me, if I have my email client open and I get an email, I hate to say this, I'm not a true fan of multitasking. I think multitasking doesn't necessarily work because you're just breaking things up into little pieces and you might not be able to, you can't focus. If I'm working on a website or working on a video and all of a sudden an email comes, my mind has to shift gears. So what Spark does is they have this home screen here, and let me close this here. Basically, they're saying, we suggest checking your inbox at 6 p.m. Now, what I can do is I can go up here and say, just show me my emails from people. So, if Steve were to send me an email, it would show up here and I can click on it and open it up. But it just makes it a little bit less likely that I'm going to get distracted and then all of a sudden go to my email and lose track of what I'm doing. Simple, but effective. So that's the home screen. And you can always just click on the inbox and it takes you back into, your inbox. And then you go back to your home screen. And if you were to quit out of this and open it back up, it would go to the home screen and say, we suggest you check your mail at 6 o'clock. And the beauty of all that is you can set that. So when I go to my scheduling here, my send later, I can tell it, well, 3 hours, let's just set it for 5 hours. Evening, maybe let's put it at 6 p.m. And tomorrow we'll go with 10 a.m. The weekend, Saturday. Next week, let's turn that one on. And this is going to be on Monday. Where's Monday? Monday at 9 a.m. And I can even go as far as put it in a month. So let's just go with a month. So now, and we'll go to the home screen here. Same thing with the home screen. I can suggest, so it's saying I should check my email at 9 a.m., 1, and 6. But I don't have the 1 o'clock on. So I'm going to turn that on. So now, basically, it's just going to say, we suggest you check your email at 9, 1. Again, getting you away from constantly checking your email and all of a sudden getting caught up or not caught up or whatever. And it will also go into the home screen after 15 minutes of inactivity. So after 15 minutes, it'll just go into that mode. Again, you can always just get out of it by clicking on inbox. So let's say I wanted to snooze this email here. I went and changed those times. You're going to see I have this evening, tomorrow, the weekend. Doesn't have the month in there yet.
Custom.
And custom date, I can just go in there and put a regular date in there. And if I want to add an alert in there, I can do that as well. So
Yeah.
I can actually just say October 23. Oops, need a space in there. And it'll put it for October 23. So you can actually type in that date. Makes it really easy to do that. Let's look at AI. Spark incorporated AI. And as some of you know, I'm a big fan of AI. When you use it right, it really, for me, it's a game changer. And it has really freed up my time. And Spark has helped along with that. So if I get an email here, so here's an email here, and God, I just, this could be really long. Actually, I think I do I have a really long email? I thought I did. It might be one that I snoozed. I gave myself a really long email to demonstrate this. So let's go in the inbox and invited John, you're invited John. Well, anyway. Let's go with, looking for a nice long email here. All right, I'm not going to read through this email. You know what? Summarize this for me. You go up to the little AI here. Mm-hmm. I'm going to enable it. And now, when I go short, here's that little summary. 10 victims are remembered. Calls for gun reform. Affordable Air Act extended. Just a little summary of all the little things in there. You know what? I want to have a little bit more of a detailed summary. Remember how long that email was. It's going through there. And I get a little bit longer. You know what? I'd like to have action items, not necessarily action points. And you can tell it to do this automatically for specific senders. So, with this email, I'm not going to read through it, but, here it is, all in bullet points. Much easier to read than kind of going through all this. All you have to do is, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? I want that all the time. And now every time that Apple sends me an email, I'll get a nice little summary of it. Now, on top of that, what I am able to do is use AI for replies and things like that. So, do you have plans for Saturday? I don't want to summarize. I'm going to reply back. And you're going to see generate reply. I can say I'm not interested, and when I click on not interested, thanks for the invitation, but I won't make it on Saturday. And I just click it, and it's gone. Well, that's not really what I want. Let's go and expand that. Be a little nicer. However, I deeply regret to inform you that I will not be able. You know what? That's a little too formal. Make it less formal. Now it's a little less formal. So essentially, what you're able to do is, reply back, and you can also use it to compose. So generate a draft. Okay, well, what do you want to talk about? Well, let's see here. We talked last week about VR, and Tom showed some new glasses. Write a thank you. Generating it. I want to take a minute to say thank you for showing me the VR glasses you were talking about last week. It was really cool to see them in action. I mean, I've never tried, so obviously I've tried VR, so I'd go and modify this. But I'm definitely going to be looking into getting a pair of my own. Thanks again for sharing with me. And there it is. Wow. Nice. And I can say, you know what? Make this more fun. A little too formal. What's up, my friend? I wanted to reach out and give you a big thanks for showing me those VR glasses. I mean, wow. So just makes things a lot easier. As I've said, I'm a huge fan of these OpenAI and Chat and Claude and all those, and this just makes things so much easier. If someone has a question on something, I hate to say it, yeah, I am speaking and I go through and I proof it, but this thing gets me, pretty much 80 to 90% there, and then I just have to go and tweak it. So it's built right in. Paid version. This does not come with the free version, of course. And then all I have to do is just send it off, and it's good to go. Delete that draft.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, that's something that they added probably about a month ago. It's about every 2 weeks that they update this thing. It's either bug fixes or features, kind of thing. So
it's a paid AI.
all you have to do is pay. You just have to pay Spark. So I don't know what and then it's included in their thing. So no, it's not a separate pay thing. It's included in Spark.
Does Mac have an AI thing?
We will next year called Ajax.
Yeah.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Because you're saying about the paid version. Is the paid version from their website the same? Because I noticed this is in Setapp. So is it the same version?
It's the same version. Yep. Setapp. What basically, and I'll talk a little bit about Setapp at the end of the class, because I am I just signed up to be an affiliate. I've been playing around with Setapp, and like I say, I'll talk about it towards the end. But these are the apps that I'm using, and when you start adding these up a little bit, okay, I'll pay the $10, $15 a month to get all of this, kind of thing. I was paying a lot more because I paid for Bartender, Clean My Mac, Clean Shot, Default Folder, Paste. I played around Downy because Ward told me about that. Of course, Spark Mail. Yoink I've played around with a little bit. This Typing Mind is a AI kind of thing, which was really cool. Like I say, at the end I can show you a little bit about that, and maybe I'll have a whole thing on how I use Setapp, because I think a lot of people here have used it, or at least a lot of my members have. It's been around for a long time, and I think it's I've finally embraced it, and I'm like, this is actually really kind of nice. I know it's another subscription, but it's all one. It's kind of like when I subscribe to a channel on my Apple TV, I try to do it through Apple, because all I have to do is just go into Apple and stop different things. It's not like I have to go to all these different things. So anyway, that's Setapp. We'll talk about that on another day. So our Spark extension's called nice Spark plugs. That is good. They should if they don't. That is good. All right, the command center. This is another thing that I really like about Spark, because I'm a keyboard shortcut kind of guy. And with the command center, all you have to do, this is actually part of, I hate to say this, the whole Electron thing. So 1Password does this. Todoist is an Electron app and works kind of along the same way. So let's say that I'm looking at this email. This is the draft. Here's a reply. So let's go with this one here. You know what? I want to block this. So what you can do is you can pull up the command center. So it's Command K. And now you're going to see you have all of these different things that you can do. And for me, I want to block it, so I just go block. And now I can set it to block her, or whoever this is. Or I can say block all. I'm just going to say block all of them. And now I blocked. So you can do this all via command. So I can go Command K and snooze. And there it is. So I can just go snooze. Or what you can do is you can use these S, C. You can use these directly without going in the command center. But the command center makes it really nice. Let's say I wanted to move this. This is I need to move it. So I go Command K. I want to move it. Where do you want to move it to? Notes. All with a keyboard. This one here, I'm going to move this one. Oops, let's minimize. Command Shift M. And I need to move this one to notes. There it is. And plans on Saturday. Let's say I wanted to move this one. This one's going to personal. There it is. Very easy to move. I don't know if with Apple, you know, you have to go and drag it, or you go up to the thing there and it doesn't, it kind of knows where you want to move it to. This just Command K, or once you learn the shortcuts, very, very easy to move things. So you can move, reply, you can pin it, so then it shows up in the pins folder over here. Go to your search. Set aside is a snooze that doesn't come back, so it's just going to be in a folder called set aside. There's your actual size for the zoom. Add an account, archive, you know, change the layout. So you have all these different commands. Yeah.
Is there an icon for the command center, or do I have to remember Command K?
You have to remember Command K. You know, well, there's a button up here, right there.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Good enough.
Mm-hmm. Now, of course, the iPad and the iPhone do not have that. Well, they kind of. So this one here, Command K. Yeah, see, Command K doesn't work with that. But they have this. They have the swipe features, and you can you know, go and modify those. And down here we have more you know, different things with that. Another thing that they have. This is something that Apple had years ago, and they no longer have. Templates. So what you're able to do. Oops. Hit the wrong key again. What you're able to do is create templates, and even use AI to help you create that template. You're not looking at my Mac here. So I can go and create templates and use AI. And then when you create an email, you can select to use that template, and then you can go and modify it. So if you have, you know, let's say I have I might have a template where someone forgot their password. I have the site do it for me, but let's just go with what I could do is I could create a template, a response for, you forgot your password, this is what you need to do, blah, 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 blah. And then all I have to do is just kind of go and modify it just a little bit, or I don't have to modify it at all. But you just name the template, what the subject is, enter the text. You can even use a placeholder in here so you can put the emails, the person who emailed, you can put a name in there and all that, so it does all the autofill for you. And when you, where it is, but it has templates. So I don't typically use them, but I think that's a nice feature for some people that would really, I think it probably comes in handy. So, and those templates work across all the devices as well. So you can create a template on one and it'll go across all your different devices. You know. On the iPad, I know this is pretty simple, and the iPhone. Open in, no, I don't see where it is. Oh, this is another very cool thing. I do use this one, create link. So when you create a link, what this will do is, let's say on my Mac here, yeah, I need to respond to this one, and we're going to meet on Thursday, but I want to get back to this email. Maybe it has a lot of detail in it. So I can go to Command K, link, create a link. So now I've just created a link to this. And when I go over to my calendar here and meeting for something, it's not a Zoom meeting. When I go in here and paste, there's that link. So I don't even have to have mail open here, or Spark Mail, so I'm going to quit out of it. And we're going to hide mail. And when I go and click on this, it pulls up that email. So you could archive that. You could, you know, just move it into a folder. And I don't know if you're like me. I don't remember what did I do with that email. Now I got to search for it. I know he said something important. What is that? So if there's anything that is ever important, what I will do is I will go into Spark Mail, create a link. I can put this in the Notes app. I can make it and put it into a reminder. It's just a link, and then it links back to the original email. So we all have those important emails. So good one here. Here's a presentation from, I don't know, a while ago, but this is what I will do a lot of times when I have a presentation. I will try to put this into a folder at some point, but I don't have to worry about it too much because I will go and create this link, and then I'll go over to the actual appointment date when I do a presentation. I'll paste that email link in there, and then when I get the reminder 2 days beforehand, I can click on that link and it'll open up, and I'll be able to see, oh yeah, okay, this is that presentation, and I can prepare for it. So it creates a link directly back to that original email. Nice feature there. Let's take a look at the settings for this. Just kind of glance through them here. So we have our Spark account here, and you can see that this is set up through Setapp. I have 4 sync devices on this, so iPad, iPhone. I must have it on another device somewhere. The general, make Spark as your default, that kind of thing. Your accounts, and when you click on an account, what you're able to do is put the sender's name in there, just like anything else. What signatures do you want to use for it? You want to have notifications for this. What are the folders? What's the app icon? Appearance. We can switch the layout. So I like to have it inside the inbox. That's kind of like a mail thing. So the 3-pane setup there. Color coding for accounts. So when you turn this on, what it will do is it applies a color to each account. So when I go back over here, I am able to see, you can see that they have an orange ring. Those are all for my personal account. If it had a different color ring around it, it would be for a different account. So it doesn't actually change the whole line, so it's a little more subtle, but it does put nice little rings in there, colors. It does work for, there's the AI. You can set up defaults for AI. Their claim to fame and where it really started is you can actually share an email address. I don't use that, of course, but let's just say I did have Beth as a producer at some point. What we'd be able to do is share an email address, and Spark can handle that a lot better. That's their claim to fame. That is where what you used to have to pay for was that Teams kind of thing. And then notifications for all emails. Then they have Smart. So if it's a notification or a newsletter, it won't give you the notification, but if it's from a person like Ward or something, then it'll give me a notification. So it's Smart, supposedly. Composer, which signature. There's your templates, your inbox, your email groups. Those are where you can group different things together. Priority. And then your Gatekeeper. That's what I talked about before. So screen senders before the inbox. So what this is going to do is this is going to, emails from new senders will appear in a special section on top of your inbox. They won't show up in your inbox until you say yes. And if you say yes, then they will go into your inbox. If you say no, you will no longer get those in your inbox. So that's that Gatekeeper. And I like to have it outside of the inbox. Your home screen and your scheduling, we kind of took a look at that. Accessibility settings, what's your default zoom level. Change your swipes, so you can swipe. You do have shortcuts in here. So this is where I know I can hit S for snooze, that kind of thing. And you can set it up to be like Apple Mail if you want, or if you use Gmail, you can set it to be like Gmail. Like I said, they update this thing probably once every couple weeks. And probably the biggest thing why I really like it is it just helps me get to this point right down here, where I am looking at 253 emails, but I know that these are the ones that I have to deal with. So it just makes it really, really simple to handle because most of my emails are either notifications or newsletters. So put those away, get those away from me, kind of thing. Yeah, Ward.
Does Spark Mail support the distinction between IMAP folders and on my Mac folders?
Everything I think has to be IMAP. So they don't have on my Mac. They don't have folders. So here's all the folders here. And if I want, so we'll go over this here a quick second. Maybe this will help. So here's my favorite folders. And let's say that feedback, I want to, that's how you create a folder. Let's see here. How do I favorite this? There it is. Just click on it and it puts it in there. Recents. I don't think, let's go and create a folder and see. See, I can just create a folder only in the server, so not on my Mac. I can't create one on my Mac. This is 100% server-based mail.
Okay, if I were to switch over to Spark, I would probably spend a month moving all of my emails that are on my Mac
On your Mac only?
to the
Yeah,
server.
yeah.
And then I would pay Apple for, much more money for my my iCloud storage space. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's my last thing here is what I have here is what I don't like about Spark Mail, and the first thing is it's an Electron app. I mean, it's good, but when I go to the preference here, I can't move that window around, kind of thing. I go to compose. It's not a separate window, although I can make it down here in the corner, but it's not a separate window where I can move it out of the way. With Electron, everything has to be within this main window here. Now, saying that, this seems to be the trend. You can't do that on the iPad or iPhone either. And Apple is kind of following this trend. They're promoting that developers should use the iPad and then say make it for a Mac. Well, when you do that, separate windows are not, I mean, they can do it, but for the most part, what most developers do is, you've probably seen it where a Mac app, the settings, if it does have a settings within the app itself, it's just in the middle, just like what this is here. Seems to be the growing trend because then it can make it cross-platform. So, I don't like the Electron app. I don't like that it doesn't have as many rules, but I got away from rules when the iPhone came out because I wanted to have all of my devices, all of my mail, no matter what I'm on, no matter where I'm at, I wanted to be able to see the same thing across all of them. So I stopped using rules a long time ago. And same thing, that's, and for me, I don't have anything, or I didn't have anything on my Mac because I wanted to store it all in there so I could get at it on my iPad and get at it on my iPhone if I needed to. And even if I had a couple of Macs, I do have a couple of Macs. This MacBook Air that I have here, I can, just disconnect it. I log into my account here and I can get at all of my mail. If I had it on my Mac, my MacBook Pro that sits on my desk here, there, I would not be able to get at those emails. So if I don't want an email, I just delete it. Otherwise, it goes into archive and I deal with it. But I also am paying for the 2 terabyte thing. So, so I don't, like I say, and I'm not going to say it's perfect by any means. When you quit out of it, we'll see if it does it. I have a lot of emails. It takes about 10 seconds for it to quit. That's that big of a deal. Also, and it might be just because I have a lot of email, when you open it up on my personal account, opens up into the home screen here. And when I go to inbox, most of the time it opens immediately, but sometimes I have to wait about 10 seconds. I don't know why. I don't know if it's part of that whole Electron thing or whatever, but it does have its issues. Don't get me wrong, but they have been aggressive. About every 2 weeks, I do get an update for it. And again, the problems I have with it, the benefits far outweigh it for the way that I use it, kind of thing. And if you have a lot of emails like what Ward has, it might not be the end-all solution, but I think for generally speaking, for most people, I think it could be a worthy thing. And they do have a free version. You won't be able to use the AI and the Gatekeeper and all that kind of stuff. But if you wanted to try it out just to see how it works, you can do that, very easily.
Question, Dan.
Yeah.
I don't use Setapp.
Okay.
Okay, my problem is I had like maybe about a decade of these bargain things
Yeah.
that I wanted to play with. But now when I go to the App Store on Apple,
Yeah.
which is beginning to piss me off because of the way they're doing this, Spark Classic, there's a Spark AI, and there's two of them. What do I do?
So Spark Classic, so back at the beginning, I talked about how they had Spark 2, and that's how I got hooked on it. Spark 2 was free for personal use, and if you wanted to use it for teams, for multiple people, you had to pay for it. That was their business model with Spark 2. And with Spark 2, it's a native Mac app. It was great, and it was great. But it didn't have AI. Of course, it's 2 or 3 years old. Well, they came out with Spark 3, and it took me 2 or 3 tries to get into Spark 3. Now I've embraced it, and I can't go back to Apple Mail. I try every once in a while because I should be using Apple Mail, but I can't. It's just too much for me. Spark 3 is the new version. Spark 2 is the old version, which is called Spark Classic. What they had to do, or they didn't have to, they got a lot of pushback when Spark 3 came out, just like when 1Password switched over to Electron. There was a lot of pushback from users. So what they did is they said they are committed to Spark 2 through the end of 2023, Spark Classic. Now, I don't know if they've updated that. Resources, here it is, Spark 2.
Okay.
And you can download this, and you're going to get a lot of the same stuff in a native Mac app. I don't know how long they're going to keep this alive. But this is a native Mac app. It's really, really good. But that's the difference. Spark Classic is Spark 2. Spark AI is Spark 3. Spark 3.
Yeah. Email inbox.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
And
That's
it's,
what I
that's unfortunately they have to do that, and I'm with you on, the whole App Store thing. It bugs me. Like you could search for Spark Mail and it might come up with a game that deals with mailing spark plugs before it'll come up with the actual app called Spark Mail. I'm being sarcastic, but that's just, and Spark, unfortunately, what they have to do is, right now the buzzword is AI. So they can't use Spark 3 because someone's going to search for mail AI,
right.
But that's the difference between them. I do not know the developer. I should say this. I should have said this up at the beginning. I don't know who they are. I know they're out of the Ukraine. I just know Riedel is the parent company, and Riedel has some really good apps. They've been around for a long time, and they Scanner Pro. They got a nice calendar app. PDF Expert is supposedly really good. I don't use it, but they've been it's a good company. I'm not affiliated with them at all, although I just did get an affiliate link through Setapp. Setapp seeked me out, and they said, "Hey, we noticed that you have some videos on Spark. We just added Spark to our arsenal of apps. Would you want to become an affiliate?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" So I am an affiliate.
What's an affiliate?
So if you sign up for Setapp through a link, and I'll have the link, but if basically if you sign up for Setapp, it does have a 7-day trial and all that. But I'll have another class on Setapp. But if you sign up for Setapp through my thing, they pay me $10, something like that. I don't know exactly the amount, but just as a little thank you, kind of thing. And they're paying me to promote them, but for those of you who have been on these for for a while, I've talked about Spark Mail far below. I only became an affiliate just in the last 2 weeks. I've been a fan of Spark Mail way before that, so I'm not promoting it to make money. I'm promoting because I think it works well and it really helps me, and I just want to help other people. It might not work out for some, but it might work out for others. And it's, how much is it? Let's go to the new Spark. Pricing. $59 a year. And here's the differences between them. So the free access, you don't get this. You don't get the AI, of course. You also don't get the priority email. The Gatekeeper you don't get. Group by sender. So all those little things that help you organize it. Now you do get the unified inbox. You do get the smart inbox, which means it's going to separate them into newsletters and notifications. You get the smart search, so it's a relative search. Show me my emails from 2 days ago, that kind of thing. Mark is done, set aside. So it does have the snooze and the send later and the reminders. So when you send someone, if I send something to Tom, and let's say that we want to talk about something next week, so I'm like, hey Tom, let's get together, and then I can put a little reminder. And if Tom doesn't respond to me by Monday, and Apple has this as well, I just put a little reminder in there, and if Tom hasn't responded to me, it'll pop back up into my email on Monday, just to remind me to say, Tom, are you there? Kind of thing.
Gotcha.
And you get the command center. So you do get quite a few, just not everything. And then this is there if you're working in teams, which I have no idea how that all works, but yeah. So the free version, you do get quite a bit. You just don't get to some of those other things. So you could try it out. And you can sign up for their 7-day free trial, download it through their website, and try all of the features for 7 days. And then if you don't want it, it just knocks it down to the free version, and you'll still be able to use it. And the beauty of it all is you can still use mail alongside it. So it's not like you're like, oh God, now I got to give this up, kind of thing. You don't really have to give it up. So
I'm not ready for that.
Yeah.
I like my rules.
yeah, no, yep. And that's why I say it's not for everybody. That's why I put, like I said, the last slide, it has its things. It's not for everybody. But I think it would help out a lot of people.
I'm interested. I just downloaded the AI one, and it's asking me to do all this weird shit. Like, sign in. I didn't put a password in. There was no screen that told me they asked for an email only. Sign in to continue to Spark, and they only gave me an email.
Right. Yep. So then you would put your primary email address in there, and then it's going to ask for a password. And if it's a Google account, what it'll do is you authenticate it through Google. If it's an iCloud account, it's going to ask for a password.
No, it's a Google account.
Okay. So yeah.
And
So you
it's
just
not
put that.
asking- it's asking me to enter a password, and I don't know. I didn't make one specifically for it.
No, because Google. Well, here let's do this. We're going to try this. I'm just going to sign out here. Log out. So we're going to quit
Are you on the iPad or no? Oh, okay, you're
on the Mac. Are you on the Mac or the iPad?
I'm on the Mac.
Okay. So it works pretty much the same though. So there it is. So that's the first screen that you had. And I would go.
So I put my iCloud. No, wait a minute. I put my email address that I have as my iCloud identity. I thought I'd have to do that if it would go to all my devices.
No. Nope. Mm-mm. You just have to sign in with the same. So I could sign in with blah, blah, blah at gmail.com here. And when I go to my iPad, I sign in with that same blah, blah, blah at gmail.com. And it'll be like, oh, hi, Dan, welcome back. And it'll pull all. So you want to use the primary email address on all of your different devices to log into Spark. So when I go in here and say, well, I'm going to continue with Google
Email.
because it's a Google account.
Oh.
And then I'll just say Johnny.
Oh, it said, well,
So you didn't have to, you didn't have to enter in a password there.
create account. I have to put my name and all that stuff, right?
No, just click on continue with Google. If it's a Google account, just click on continue. Don't even put an email address in here.
Oh, well, I have an email address that lets, oh, shit, that screwed that up. Okay, never mind. Let me see. Sign in
Just
to this Google account, create a
Yeah.
Google account. Is that what it means?
Yeah, so here, choose an account. So do you have a Google account? So you would sign in through your Google account.
Yeah, it should be.
You have any other questions, Ward? I know it's not perfect for your scenario, but I know you're curious on it. So. Oh, you're muted.
Okay. The one thing that occurred to me was that anybody who's interested in trying out the full-fledged app should definitely look at Setapp because it'll only take you Spark Mail, default folder, and maybe one more to pay for Setapp.
Yes. And when I put this online tomorrow, I will have a link if anybody wants to try out Setapp. So yeah, let's, we'll segue into, and I'll have another class on this, but exactly what Ward's talking about with Setapp, you've heard me talk about it recently just because I'm intrigued by it. And you put 3 or 4 of these programs together, you're going to be paying a lot more for it. So as Ward said, I paid for Spark Mail. So there's $59 a year right there. I paid for Paste. This is my Paste. Love it. Absolutely love Paste. It's for keeping history of your pasteboard, clipboard history, kind of thing. And it's available on the Mac, iPad, and iPhone. So
I use iClip.
yeah, iClip. But is iClip available on the iPad and iPhone?
I don't know. I never tried it.
And what I like, not to discount, but I'm an interface. I love Paste. Just has a nice interface here, and I can put them. It's just nice. I like it. But anyway, and there's other ones out there, but I paid for Paste before Setapp. So you're looking, I think that's $30 a year. So I'm up to $90 a year. That's just for 2 apps. Bartender, especially on a smaller Mac, when you go up to the menu bar here, this starts getting really, really full. What Bartender will do is it will take all those and you can decide which ones you want to show here, and then it'll hide the rest. Still easy to get at them. It just kind of hides them, so you don't have 20 icons sitting across your thing there. Another app that I used beforehand. BusyCal. This is a calendar app. I think it's better than Apple's calendar. It's not fantastical, but it is pretty nice. So you have BusyCal there. They also have Busy Contacts, and Busy Contacts is nice in that it's a contact manager. So when I click on this, it needs to access my contacts. Continue. Yeah. Well, I got to add an account, so won't get into that. But with this, what you can do is I could click. Let's say I had an appointment with Ward in my calendar. I could click on Ward's name here. This is where it would show up, and I would see all the appointments, all my calendar stuff that I had with Ward. If I had any reminders, I'd see all the. If I had any mail, I'd see all the mail that I've had with Ward. Now the problem with it is Mac OS Sonoma got rid of mail plugins. So it doesn't do that right now, but I'm assuming that they'll have an update. But anyway, Busy Contact is just a nice, instead of just giving us an address, we can actually see more information. And then Gemini gets rid of duplicates. This is made by the same company as another one of my favorite, Clean My Mac. So I pay for Clean My Mac. I stopped a subscription with Clean My Mac. I stopped my subscription with Paste. I stopped my subscription with Spark Mail. Made sure, I don't think this is a subscription, but CleanShot, I talked about that last week. This is the screenshot program, works really nice. So that alone right there pays for the price of admission, and they have over 200 apps. All of them aren't that great. They're not all, I call these really nice programs. Default folder, God, that's been around since Mac OS 10 came out. It might even be a Mac OS 9 thing. But if you have favorite folders, you can access them really easily from within open dialog boxes and things like that. Just really, really nice program. Who to spot? Search. So you can create, I need to find a PDF that the name contains, and then the text contains this, and then the file extension is this, where are the locations, and then you can save that as a favorite. So it's a smart folder amplified. I know Apple has smart folders, but Who to Spot just makes it a little bit easier if you want to use smart folders. A lot of good stuff in there. PDF Squeezer makes those big PDFs. One thing, and it does it well. Makes them smaller without compromising the quality per se. Downy, which Ward talked about or mentioned, this is you can download video from YouTube and other sources, right, Ward? I think from other ones as well, Vimeo and all that kind of stuff. So it's a nice app. Short menu, something I didn't use on my email, as Ward pointed out. What this does is this makes a short link. So, we've all seen those emails, like the reminder email I sent out today had a really long email. This would,
Right.
if I would have put it in here, this just sits in the menu bar, it just would have made it much shorter. So you don't have those long emails. So Swish is an actual interesting I've never heard of this, but with Swish, what you're able to do, I think it's kind of cool, actually. I'm going to enable these all. If I can. Almost done. All right, double tap. Okay, we'll just show you here. Double tap, built-in trackpad, pinching. All right, so what I can do is go up to this. Let's say I wanted to open this window in full screen. All I have to do is go to the toolbar here. I can go to this side, and if I'm a trackpad user, so all I have to do is just go whoop, like that. Oops. Opens up in full screen. You know what? I don't want this in full screen anymore. Guess what I do? Whoop, on my trackpad. Oop, I closed it. I'm at an odd angle. I actually have this on my other computer. And you can even go as far as I want to quit out of here. I'm just pinching. I want to quit out of there. So it gives extra things to your trackpad if you're a trackpad user. A little bit of muscle memory that you have to learn and all that, but I can see a little bit of promise there. Typing Mind. This is AI. And as someone mentioned earlier, with AI, the problem with AI is you have to purchase all of this stuff. Well, if you get it through Setapp, they purchase it for you. It's part of the Setapp kind of thing. So I can say, my profile, I can put my image in there, who I am, that kind of thing. We're going to use Setapp 4.0, or I can use Claude. I do like Claude as well. And write me an email about last week's meeting and how we discussed VR. So you have there it is. It's writing it for me. And the nice thing about this is using ChatGPT 4, or is that might be the Claude. No, it's Chat GPT-4. Yeah. I'm going to stop it. I'm like, you know what? That's not that great. Let's go and use Claude. And I can go in here and say the same thing, and I'd get the version from Claude. Have all these different things. They have plugins. So it's just a nice interface where you can try the different AIs out and not have to pay for them separately. So, because Chat GPT-4 is you have to pay for that $20 a month. Claude 4, I think, they have the free version, but you have to pay for it separately.
I have Chat GPT-4 in Safari.
Yep.
It doesn't cost me anything.
Chat GPT-4 does, 3.5 doesn't. So you're probably using 3.5.
Maybe I'm using 3.5.
Yeah. And for the most part, I don't pay for Chat GPT, so I'm using 3.5, and I use Claude 4 or Claude 2. I don't pay for any AI, and they work great. I don't need to pay for them. But this gives me the opportunity to use 4 as well as the other ones, and I like it that it's in a nice little app. Yeah, another thing that you would have to pay for outside of Setapp. And then you can also, they have iPad apps and iPhone apps as well. So Paste is available on the iPad and iPhone. Spark is available on the iPad and iPhone.
How much is it again?
$9.95 a month if you want to put it on 2 devices. If you want to, now I'm paying the $15 a month because I need to have it on 8 devices. Because I have my demo Mac, I have my demo this, and I have, and I want to have it on all of them. So I'm paying the bigger price.
By the way, there is something that I noticed. If you create a contact in your contacts and you forget, like, okay, you forget the person's name, of course, like, oh, how can I find them? Busy contacts actually you can search based on date created. So like if I put you in there this month, all I have to do is search by everybody who's this month. You don't have that Apple Contacts.
So do you use Busy Contacts?
I actually use Busy Contacts and I use it because of that feature
alone. It's kind of, I'm sorry I can't demonstrate it here, but I wasn't planning on it. But as George says, it's kind of nice. It's like a full-blown contact manager. You can put notes in there, and so I could click on George and put notes in there and see all the correspondence that we've had, and and I guess it has a nice search on it too. So.
So think about how many times you go out and you meet somebody, you put their contact information in, but you totally forget who they are. But if you can at least remember a date around, then you can process of elimination.
Right.
Find it that way, and good luck trying to, because I couldn't figure out how to do it in the native contacts app. That's why I was like, oh, I love Busy Contacts.
And the nice thing is it doesn't replace the native contacts app. It works in conjunction with it. So you add a contact through Busy Contacts, it'll be in your contacts app on your iPhone and your iPad. So it's not replacing it, even though it's only a Mac app kind of thing. So yeah, not to turn this into a Setapp kind of thing, but I'm kind of geeked about it. I've just there's some pretty good stuff in there. So to me, it's worth it. But
Thanks,
maybe
Dan,
that'll be what my next class will be on. Next week it'll be my standard AMA, but maybe what I'll do is we'll talk a little bit more about Setapp because there's some pretty good stuff in there, and the tools that it has are pretty nice. You can uninstall an app completely, kind of thing, and all that. So.
Thank you, Dan. I got to get going, but
Yes, I should as well. So.
yeah. Ciao for now.
All right. Any other questions on Spark? Otherwise, we're going to wrap this up. A little bit of a long one. So I hope it was helpful. So, and
It was.
Of course.
not for everyone, but I think it is a worthwhile contender. And if you have a lot of emails, it might be something that you want to look into. It is my default mail app for years. So, and I find it works well. Yeah. All right.
And the more
Good job. Thank
better
you.
it gets, right?
And I never got to use my new little trick, to write on the screen. Oh, well, next time. So, thanks everyone. Next week I'll be having one of my standard AMAs. And outside of that, have a good weekend and we'll see everyone later.
Likewise for you.
Thanks.
Take
Thanks,
care.
Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
Packers on Amazon Prime tonight.
Yes. Playing the Lions.
Ooh, this is gonna be good.
Go Lions.
Ooh,
No.
I'm gonna spike your cheese.
All right. We'll talk to
Aloha.
everyone later. Mahalo.